terrifying story. The Haunting of Hall 12. I am an employee of the small-town funeral home in Oakwood County. It's a gloomy place, surrounded by 11 somber halls, each connected in groups of 3 for easy navigation. We call it the Mourning Maze. When it's time to receive the departed, we make sure to open the doors and illuminate the path to the embalming room, which we dub the Eternal Restroom. It's located on the left side of Hall 1, separated by a dimly lit corridor. The layout of the halls follows a similar pattern, with a communal restroom tucked away inside, for the convenience of grieving families. Our line of work demands a 24-hour shift, and each hall is equipped with a calling device for distressed relatives to summon assistance or any other macabre need. In the duty room, we have an old-fashioned receiver that resembles a relic from the past, perched on a table. The screen displays the hall number, ensuring we can provide timely service. One lucky soul stays behind in the duty room to sleep while the rest of us catch some rest in the dormitory. It was the frigid winter of 2017 when the bizarre incident occurred. As an inexperienced intern, I was still grappling with the harsh reality of death. That night, sleep enveloped me like a sinister shroud, and when I awoke, my mind felt foggy, lost in a haze. It was the unearthly hour of 3 or 4 in the morning when I found myself alone in the duty room. Most of the grieving families were fast asleep, and I, too, felt trapped in a slumbering limbo. Suddenly, a jarring screech shattered the silence. The pager blared its haunting cry. Hall 12 was beckoning. Startled, I assumed it was Hall 2 calling, hastily threw on my coat, and ventured into the frigid night. A bone-chilling gust of wind greeted me as I stepped outside, raising doubts about what I had heard. Nonetheless, time was of the essence, and I pressed on, hastening toward Hall 2. As I arrived, I discovered only a few mourners sprawled across the tables, lost in the embrace of their dreams. Bound by the ethics of our service, I refrained from disturbing their slumber, assuming the caller had ventured to the restroom. I loitered near the entrance, lighting a cigarette as I patiently awaited their return. Minutes turned into an hour, and still, no one emerged. That's when I noticed an eerie glow emanating from the embalming room. We hadn't received any instructions to prepare for a new arrival, and leaving lights on would undoubtedly incur the wrath of our stern superiors. Muttering complaints about a careless colleague, I approached the room to investigate. Peering through the window, I was met with an unsettling sight. The dressing room light was the only one still aglow. My curiosity piqued. I wondered why the entrance lights were extinguished while this lone beacon persisted. So I tentatively opened the window of the dressing room, revealing a specter, a woman in her 30s, clad in a flowing white gown, her dark tresses cascading around her pallid face. She paced restlessly near the preparation table, her lips moving in an incoherent murmur, her countenance obscured by shadows. Politely, I inquired, "Excuse me, ma'am, which hall do you represent? This area is off-limits without proper authorization." Just as I entertained the thought of opening the door to set her free, a middle-aged man's voice echoed from behind me, jolting me from my reverie. "Son, ain't you an employee? It's late. Why aren't you sleeping? I couldn't help but notice you talking to yourself here. It's mighty peculiar." Bewildered, I replied, "No, sir. I saw a woman inside. I was about to open the door and let her out. Otherwise, we'll be held accountable." To my astonishment, the man's expression contorted into an odd mixture of confusion and disbelief. He inquired about what I was talking about, insisting there was nothing inside, and the lights were undeniably off. In that moment, we stood side by side, staring at the same spot. I witnessed a room bathed in light, a woman haunting its depths, while he perceived nothing but an abyss of darkness. As I pondered this eerie phenomenon, the woman vanished before my eyes, and the lights dimmed once more. A surge of primal fear coursed through my veins, causing my hair to stand on end. Hastily, I explained to the family members that it was a mere bout of confusion, likely induced by drowsiness, before scurrying back to the duty room. I stole a glance at the pager, and the sight paralyzed me with terror. Collapsing onto the floor, I mustered the strength to stumble into the security office, sharing my harrowing encounter with the baffled guards. They greeted my tale with skepticism, but upon inspecting the pager, their eyes widened in dread. It indisputably displayed the number 12. Meanwhile, a notification chimed on our work group chat, announcing an impending pickup from St. Mary's Hospital. Without delay, I joined a senior colleague and our driver, embarking on this disquieting errand. However, when I laid eyes upon the deceased, my world crumbled. She bore an uncanny resemblance to the apparition I had witnessed in the embalming room. Identical clothing, hair color, and hairstyle. The others found my reaction perplexing, but my colleague intervened, offering a feeble excuse of a slippery mishap. Once we placed the departed soul in the vehicle, he leaned in, whispering, "What in the devil's name happened earlier? We've encountered all sorts in our line of work, yet I've never seen you so shaken." Reluctantly, I recounted every chilling detail, but he dismissed it as a mere ghost story, laughing it off. In the aftermath, I gradually distanced myself from the funeral home, leaving the profession behind. I saved up enough money to open a quaint flower shop, yearning for a future devoid of such sinister encounters. May the fates conspire to keep me far from the clutches of the unknown. The Haunting Secrets of Studio 12. Unveiling Tales of Terror. I was a senior student from Pineville, a small town in rural America. In pursuit of my artistic aspirations, I decided to spend a year studying fine arts in a renowned studio located in a quaint town called Lanshill. Little did I know that this artistic journey would lead me to uncover the haunting secrets hidden within those hallowed studio walls. It was April 19th when I first arrived, and rumors whispered among the students about the studio's mysterious past. The studio complex comprised two buildings, a northern and a southern dormitory. The southern building, once reserved for female students, held a chilling tale. In room 501, a young woman, burdened by the intense pressure of her artistic pursuits, tragically succumbed to the darkness within and leaked to her demise. As time passed, other unsettling incidents unfolded, but the school swiftly swept them under the rug, citing vacations and emptying the premises. Being a group of students from different corners of America, we remained oblivious to the true nature of those events. However, local residents murmured tales of religious rituals conducted by the school during our breaks. Upon our return, we were greeted by an eerie sight, a quartet of crimson cloths, bearing enigmatic symbols, plastered on the southeast corner of the school. It was said that these symbols held the power to ward off malevolence. In the following year, the once dreaded building was converted into a dormitory for male students. Rumors swirled that the masculine energy emanating from these young souls rendered them safer from the unseen forces at play. Room 501 stood desolate, abandoned, serving only as a storage space for oil paintings and sundry items. Yet, I couldn't help but suspect that it concealed something more sinister, something that tethered the vile residue of the past. From that point on, the faculty chose to remain silent, veiling the secrets that lay dormant within those walls. However, an unsettling obsession soon emerged among the faculty, a penchant for prayer beads. Some clung to their worn-out beads, while others acquired new ones, intricately crafted and exorbitantly priced. The enigmatic Tibetan students revealed that these beads possessed the power to repel dark forces. Then, one fateful evening during a dimly lit sketching session, chaos erupted from the adjacent classroom. I rose from my seat, drawn to the pandemonium, only to witness a male classmate's hands clutching at his own throat as he gasped for breath. Classmates rushed to his aid, while the teacher, panic-stricken, dialed for an ambulance to whisk him away. Alas, our efforts were in vain, and the school attributed the tragedy to the students' chronic exhaustion. As a result, they adjusted the class schedule, concluding all activities before the stroke of 11. However, we couldn't help but question the coincidence. Was it not said that the midnight hour was when the gates to the supernatural swung open wide? It was no mere happenstance that the incident transpired immediately after 11. From that point forward, a haunting symphony of inexplicable occurrences unraveled before our bewildered eyes. Portraits affixed to the walls, no matter how securely fastened, inexplicably tumbled down every night, while still-life paintings remained steadfastly in place. The surveillance cameras captured ethereal specters, their translucent forms floating aimlessly, yet the dormitory supervisors dismissed them as mere glitches caused by aging equipment and accumulated dust. Tales circulated of female students witnessing an apparition adorned in disheveled hair, dancing with abandon within the confines of the girls' dormitory. The female instructors, petrified, dared not venture near the building. Ultimately, the truth emerged, a case of two sleepwalking students. Numerous eerie incidents transpired, too numerous to recount, but eventually, they faded into the background, leaving us under the impression that the storm had passed. However, our relief was short-lived. One twilight evening, darkness enveloped the school, plunging it into an abyss of impenetrable shadows. Amidst the chaos, whispers of despair and faint cries echoed through the corridors. Suddenly, the lights returned, illuminating a scene of abject horror. A meticulously drawn sketch of a young woman lay shredded and torn. What made this artwork truly uncanny was the medium used, an unconventional blend of cottonwood material renowned for its fine, powdery texture. The subject of the portrait, originally depicted with a smiling visage, now bore smeared eyes resembling blood, while the torn edges traced a ghastly path across her neck. Adding to the macabre tableau, a crimson hairpin lay discarded on the floor, adjacent to the desecrated masterpiece. Upon closer inspection, it was revealed to be an item that once belonged to the girl who had tragically ended her own life by jumping from the building. Coincidence? I think not. The power outage conveniently deprived us of any surveillance footage, leaving us bereft of answers. Alas, my tale concludes with my graduation and departure from that accursed institution. Nevertheless, I remain haunted by the disconcerting notion that the events that unfolded within those walls were not mere coincidences. A sinister force, beyond our comprehension, lingers within the confines of that legendary art school, perpetually unsettling and tormenting all those who dare to set foot upon its grounds.